Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS News stream. I hope you guys enjoyed that JF-17 video, the takeoff, navigation and landing. It's the latest in the series. Next week we'll take a little look at how to employ air-to-air weapons in the JF-17, starting with BVR combat and the usage of the radar. Oh my! Hello Stevie B, hello Tog, thank you. Hello Mark S. First, hardly. No one's ever first. You should know that by now. So yes, next week we're going to have that. Actually, it's not going to be next week. In fact, I have a very important announcement. I'm going on vacation, so you're not going to see me for a couple of weeks. I made a post in my YouTube channel all about it, so you can see exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to have a couple of the little bite-size Harrier videos set up to go live while I'm away, but you're not going to get another tutorial or DCS news video, I'm afraid, until I'm back. So that's going to be... Actually, what did I say in my post? I've not been paying enough attention. I'll very quickly check and then I can tell you all exactly what the dates are. Content, posts. I have to read my own post to remember when I'm coming back. So I return on the 11th of September. Normal service will return then. So that's the deal. In any case, let's say hello to the one, the only, the dotChuckles. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. I was just telling the stream about the fact that this is going to be our last DCS news stream for a couple of weeks because I'm not going to be here.
No, you're returning to the mothership.
I'm returning to the mothership. I'm going to Scotchland. Speaking of Scotch, cheers.
Cheers, yes.
And because this is the last one, obviously we have to have a small drink just to improve the quality of our discussion and content.
Well, the last one for a couple of weeks, and then, yes, you return to the mothership and we get to drink beer face to face.
My God, exactly. It's going to be amazing.
I know.
Absolutely. I didn't say fly safe, says Stevie B. Hello, Rusty
Clown.
C. I only say fly safe at the end of my streams, actually. That's what I normally do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because you're Scott Manley.
Yes. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe. I don't look anything like Scott Manley. And actually, you know, if you're Scottish, you'll recognise that I don't even sound that much like Scott Manley, so... it's just you foreigners that think I do.
Yeah.
So, in any case, we have a newsletter, Mr. dotChuckles. Let's take a little look at...
Hang on, before we do that, I'm just going to top up with some more of my Highland Park, and then I'm ready to go.
Yes, going to make sure that you are sufficiently lubricated to continue.
You know, they said that Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. This sound is what brings all the Scots to the yards.
You triggered something in my Neanderthal brain. I'm
whiskey.
It's like meerkats. Scottish men around the world just did the meerkat look.
The sound of the whiskey bottle being unstoppered. Anyway, yes.
We have a newsletter, sir, to discuss. So, we've had another stable release. It's nice to see that Eagle are keeping the stable release more up to date with the open beta these days. I guess that means that the recent releases have been more stable. My experience has been pretty good. Like, I've not noticed some of the major breaking changes that we've seen in the past. So,
no.
I guess they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, like, I mean, I read the article on, obviously in the newsletter, and I was clicking through the forums, and it reminded me, because I went and looked at the patch notes again for it going through into stable, and I don't know if I commented on it last time, but the sheer number of updates to the F-16 in that patch, it was like 2 pages of stuff, which sort of just confirms our theory that we had sort of going on, that, you know, once the F-18's done, the F-16 will start to pick up pace. So, you know, definitely holding true with those patch notes.
I think
and now
so.
the people in stable get to enjoy it too.
Yes, yes. And that's the people in stable enjoying the JSO now, which is very exciting in the F-16. So yeah, it's getting more capable, and actually they implemented a bunch of the smaller features of the HUD. Like there's all these different modes that you can put the HUD into in the F-16. Like you can have tapes and no tapes, and you can center your FPM, and you can display CAS or TAS, or anyway, there's tons of little options for the HUD, and I think in the last update they implemented just about all of them. So those little switches on the right console are now working, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my DED pages, Ed. Give me my DED pages.
Yeah.
Where's my cruise page?
I know.
How can I maximize my endurance if I don't have my cruise page, damn it?
Exactly.
But I think it will come soon. So yeah, the next thing on the newsletter is the AH-64D Apache. Development is going well. We've prepared a brief history of this powerful attack helicopter this week, and in the following newsletters we will provide some of the interesting details on the various development aspects of this important project. This is something I'm excited about, and I'm just going to tantalize you all with some screenshots. And I've got to say, they've done really nice work here, because as I recall from playing Jane's Apache longbow, the symbology in the multifunction displays in the Apache is utterly unlike anything else that we've seen in the sim. Like, the F-16 and the F-18, they are distinct. They have slightly different fonts and slightly different setups and so on, but there's similarities to them. Whereas you take a look at something like the Apache, all of its avionics look nothing like any other aircraft, really. It's very, very bespoke. Ooh, oh my. Thank you very much, Frantic. Frantic has now sent me 2 £5 notes with different messages.
Wow.
He's been very, very kind today. Thank you very much, sir.
Last night when these was last night, was the night before, I can't remember, when these screenshots dropped, I tweeted out the screenshots and yeah, these are so hot they wouldn't be allowed on OnlyFans.
And how right you were.
Not that I know what that is or anything.
Yes, yeah. Well, what is it? There was, for a while there was a Pornhub advert on the internet where it was the guy sitting behind his computer and his girlfriend standing on the other side of the monitor asking him what he's looking at, and he says nothing. And it says Pornhub, the biggest collection of nothing on the internet.
But dear God, how sexy is the preview for the Apache?
And look at this image.
Oof.
And I want you all to take a good hard look at this picture, and I want your opinions on what looks a little bit different from what we've seen before in a DCS module. Because there's something that my eyes immediately were drawn to, and I'm probably wrong, but look at that FLIR image and tell me that it's... I'm not certain that it's their brand new FLIR implementation, because it probably isn't.
Yeah.
But it definitely looks better than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Definitely looks better.
Like we sort of picked over this in when we were getting ready to do the show, and I think there are still issues with that as a FLIR image, but the contrast in it looks more like FLIR images that I've seen before. It looks more like something you'd see on Sniper.
Yes.
Because people would expect, like, oh, well, the 2 guys standing off there, they should be really, really bright and you should see the engines and stuff. Yes, but you only get that when you start fiddling with the gain controls and contrast and all that kind of stuff, and you tease those details out of an IR image. So, as it's as a sort of not being tweaked, that you've just booted the monitor up and, there you go, IR image. That looks a lot better than, what we normally see.
Yes.
That doesn't just look like a color filter over the video feed, that, the current, IR implementation is.
Yeah, and it probably varies based on your settings in DCS, but I know for myself, The FLIR, when I look at it, say in the Harrier through the Lightning II targeting pod, to my eye, it looks terrible. like it really, really looks nothing like a real FLIR image. Whereas this is much closer. This is pretty convincing. Maybe not spot on, but pretty convincing. So who knows? I'm not saying it's the new FLIR technology. It may be, or it might not be. But it's definitely something better than what we have today. That's for sure.
Yeah, it looks different. That doesn't look like what I'm used to seeing.
Yep. And of course, it's such an important piece of technology in the Apache. Like, the FLIR is used for everything in the Apache, so getting it right... In fact, this may even be the reason why they've been revisiting their FLIR technology, is because they're developing the Apache. Because you can't have an Apache with crappy FLIR.
Yeah. And the other thing that this sort of image gave away to me, I learned something about the Apache. I didn't realize that the Apache has flight controls in the front cockpit. Until I saw this picture. I don't know if I just not paid enough attention to the CPG's cockpit, because I'm always interested in what the pilot's doing. I was aware that both are capable of flying the aircraft and they take it in turns, but I just assumed it was like, do you want to be CPG today? Go, get in the front, mate.
Yes.
I didn't realize that actually they've both got controls.
Yeah. And like I was saying to you earlier, my understanding, I listened to some interviews with British Apache pilots, so this might differ from the US usage of the aircraft. But the British will tend to fly from either cockpit, and sometimes, the guy in one cockpit will do one leg of the flight and the guy in the other will do the other, and they really just swap back and forth whenever they feel the need, depending on workflow. So it's very much the case that you can fly it fully from either seat. The only thing that I would say is that, of course, the front cockpit is lacking the backup flight instruments, so you would have to set your MFDs up for flight. Whereas in the rear cockpit, you could have pretty much anything on the MFDs because you do have these flight instruments here.
And of course, the rear cockpit doesn't have the additional functionality with the targeting systems and being able to control the sensors. The front cockpit has. So
I'm not entirely clear on how much of that is unique to the front cockpit. The front cockpit is better set up for that purpose, but I think you can actually display all of the targeting systems in the rear cockpit as well.
Sure, but if you go to the image of the CPG cockpit,
yes,
that controller next to the
center, display,
that's looking fairly specialized, and
I'm not sure though how much of that is not reproduced on the Pilots Collective, because if you look at the Pilots Collective, I'm probably wrong, but I don't know. Yeah, I think you can do it from either cockpit, but almost certainly it's easier in the front.
It's interesting. Like it was a learning point for me. That I knew that they were both fully qualified to fly the helicopter. I just didn't realize that actually they can do it from either cockpit. I thought it was going to be a case of, you're going to have to get in the back.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we also have some close-up shots of the gun. I'm not sure why they're so close-up, because I would quite like to see a bit more context to this, but there's a really, really close image of the gun.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it's because there's some work in progress stuff going on that they might not want to show us. But it really does show off the mechanism. Like, you can see the feed gears and all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah. I'm wondering, is this all going to be actually animated? Is this going to be? I assume it must be.
It must be.
Yeah.
Must be. That's why they're showing it off. It's a lot of daka. Like,
and let me see if I can remember. This is a 20mm gun. The chain gun.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
I have a funny feeling it's a 20mm. So serious amount of power. This is the kind of thing that you have on a BMP, basically. It's not a small gun.
It's a lot of daka.
Very
not
impressive.
Not a massive rate of fire.
No.
But it doesn't need it.
It's basically an autocannon, but in a helicopter. So I don't think you need it to fire all that fast.
It's chucking a fairly big fucking chunk of lead at you, so it doesn't need to do it quickly.
No, definitely not. So back to the newsletter. They have this little section about it, and it's really just repeating the images that we had there. And in actual fact, for this week's newsletter, they are really just telling us the history of the helicopter. So there's no particularly interesting developmental information in here.
Yeah, but they have said that is coming though, didn't they? They said that in the next update is going to sort of feature a bit more about development.
That's what they said from the next one. Oh, and Mark S just said it, and I just noticed as well. It's a 30mm gun.
30mm gun.
So it's actually bigger than some of the stuff you would see on an APC.
Huge.
That is massive.
That's like, I'm just going to fucking fire a Coke bottle at you.
That is the same caliber that the A-10's Avenger cannon has, except this is a single barrel as opposed to its multi-barrel. So yeah.
And that's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, it doesn't need a high rate of fire. It's just huge.
No.
Huge fucking bullet.
And then you've got the A-10, which also has a really high rate of fire and the same caliber. It's just a bit silly.
I know. But yeah, developmental updates. That's going to come with the next next update on it. Which I think that's where I'm really just going to ascend into the stratosphere with excitement. Because if they start talking about the avionics and the stuff that they're putting into this, I'm going to need to take a break. I'm going to have to go and have a lie down. I'll have a crisis.
One bit that I'm very interested in is that they have a paragraph in the newsletter here where they talk about the longbow radar, and they talk about the capabilities which they're going to simulate. It can detect and track up to 256 targets simultaneously out to a range of 50 kilometers, and it can engage up to 16 of those targets simultaneously.
Yep. Basically, its entire world. Yeah.
And then and then all of that is data linked as well. So you only need one of the Apaches to expose itself, get all of that targeting information, share it with the rest of the flight, and then they can all fire at once at different targets. Yeah.
So bear in mind that the Apache in a full Hellfire configuration can carry 16 of them.
16, correct. Yeah.
So you're talking 4 Apaches carrying 16 Hellfires.
64.
So that's 64. Thanks for doing the maths. I don't think I'm capable after this much whiskey. So one Apache exposes itself with the death donut.
Yep.
Scans the area, goes back down, hands the targets off, select lock on after launch, fire fucking 64 in a salvo, pop back up, and then just watch the Hellfires going blink, 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 and 64 tanks fucking die. I mean, it's
madness.
That's insane. That's like, I mean, that's not just battle winning, that's nearly war winning, because if you have a country that fields its best units, for example, how many challengers do we have? We've
200
got
or something? Not that many.
About 200, right? So if we fielded them all in the same place, we'd lose more than a quarter of our entire main battle tanks.
Actually, apparently 447 have been built, but there's no way all of those are in use by the British Army.
I think there's about 200 now, because a lot got cannibalized, used for spares, crashed, blown up, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's probably about 200.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
But you make a very, very important point. The Hellfire missile's ability to lock on after launch is an absolute game changer. Very, very impressive weapon. And in combination with this type of target collection and distribution, it's an incredible platform.
Yeah. So Togs just come and says a typical Soviet tank division had like over 100 tanks. That's a lot of tanks.
Yes.
2 flights of Apaches could kill them all.
Yes.
That's an entire division burning. That's, it's mental. Like the capability of the Apache. I mean, yeah, must have fucking terrified the Soviets, the idea of the Apache, because they've got nothing like it. They had nothing like it, you know, especially with the Hellfire missile to be able to do, you know, the low all launch. You know, it's
well, even today, I'm not aware of the Russian helicopters having this kind of capability. Their stuff is mostly laser guided. And so they need visibility of the target throughout the flight of the missile.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, the millimeter wave radar that's on the Apache, its resolution is incredible. Like, yes. You know, it can... I think I'm willing to be prepared to be wrong because I usually am, but I think it can identify vehicles from its shape because the resolution of the millimeter wave radar is so accurate that it can go, you know, that's a BMP, that's a T-72, you know, etc., etc.
That is my understanding. It basically has NCTR. So yes, it can do that. It can also generate topography, so it can actually scan the terrain. Now, of course, in most cases, you're already going to have a terrain database, but yes, it can provide quite high resolution radar images.
So it's going to give us a lot of toys to play with. I mean, I think
I'm very interested in the data link because the data link capabilities of the Apache are very, very powerful. And I think it's not Link 16, of course. So it's not something that's going to work with the other aircraft.
It's its own system, I think, isn't it? It was proprietary, basically, to the Apache. I don't think it integrated with the wider battle space.
No, I think it integrates with the Abrams and Stryker and certain other ground vehicles. I don't think it integrates with other aircraft. Probably the Kiowa too, right. I would imagine.
I think that might be an update then, because I think originally when the Longbow came out, it didn't do that. It just sort of, but again, I could be wrong. Okay. But yeah, I mean the data link stuff with the ability to hand targets off like that, you can do it. I mean, yeah, we don't really have that in. I was going to say we don't really have that in DCS yet, but I'd be wrong because you can do it in the K. You can do it in the Black Shark.
In fact, there's two very handsome gentlemen, Deepak and dotChuckles, who made a video demonstrating it.
Yeah. And it's a right fucking pain in the arse, is what it is.
It takes quite a few button presses on the overheads to do it.
Yeah, and I think you can only hand off 4 targets.
Correct.
Yeah. So here's the Apache with have 64 targets, lads. I mean, you know, the last 20 years, it's basically been involved in counterinsurgency operations. It's not been, you know, deployed.
They've mostly been using the gun, really.
Yeah. But, I mean, you just have to look at what the Apache did in 91 in the Gulf War, and that was the A model. That wasn't the Death Donut.
Yeah, they didn't have any of this stuff back then.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely wrecked. I mean, the soldiers surrendered to Apaches.
Yes.
Because they saw them and just went, fuck that.
Nope.
Came out and waved the flags. I mean, there's quite a famous video of it happening and you know, the pilot and CPG are sitting there going, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Never happened before.
Did you have any zip ties in the back?
You know, it's I mean, what it did in 91, that's the A model.
Yeah.
Just incredible. I mean, in fact, it fired the first shots of the Gulf War.
Yeah, they took out radar sites and
from Apache. Yeah, that's right.
Surface to air missile systems.
They basically kicked the door in for the first air raid to go through.
Yeah.
It's an amazing aircraft. I think I am legitimately, this is the most excited I've been for a DCS module out of any DCS module.
It's very, very cool.
The Apache.
By the way, chat, for more information on what dotChuckles is talking about there, check out a very good YouTube channel called The Operations Room, because he takes you through the first hours of the Gulf War, bit by bit, with full diagrams, and he'll describe everything that we were just talking about. Very, very good videos.
Yeah. With that first Apache raid, I would second that. His stuff is amazing. But yeah, I mean, the first DCS module that I was really, really excited about was the A-10.
For me, it was the Black Shark.
It was the Black Shark, yeah. And then subsequent modules, I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's really, really cool. There wasn't any that I was like, oh my fuck, I'm so excited until the Apache. You know, everything was like, it's cool, it's interesting, I like the aircraft, it's good fun. Like the F-16, yeah, it's cool, it's a pretty plane, it's one of my favorites, but I'm quite excited. The Eurofighter, like, yeah, it's getting up there, but Apache, man.
I was
legitimately the most excited.
I was very excited for the F-16, and then subsequently disappointed because of the way it was delivered. But I'm still psyched. I still think they're going to get there, because I know they'll get there.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, the F-16, like, I mean, it is a favorite aircraft, and it holds a special place, you know, from being a kid playing Falcon.
Yeah.
But that's it, is I grew up as a teenager playing Falcon, and then Falcon 2 and Falcon 3 and Falcon 4. So I'm kind of done with the F-16 because...
Understandable.
Falcon 4 and then subsequent BMS...
BMS is fire. BMS is fire.
Yeah, you know, it kind of scratched the itch. And, like, bringing it into DCS, it's like, yeah, it's great, but it was like, I've had that itch scratched. Whereas Apache, the last thing that simulated it was Jane's, like...
A lifetime ago.
Yeah. So this is a big deal.
And speaking of Jane's Apache, is it not the case that our man Wags was involved with that one too?
He was, I think.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Perhaps even the producer on that one.
Was he? Was he the producer on Jane's?
I don't know.
I think he was. He did Strike Eagle 3.
Uh-huh.
But he might have actually been. Yeah. Might have actually been.
I now need to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember. Oh no, producer was Andy Hollis. So
Andy Hollis. Yeah, he was involved with Jane's, I know that. I think it might have been Strike Eagle that he was in on.
Okay.
But yeah, people are like probably rolling their eyes now and going, shut the fuck up about the Apache and move on.
Yeah. But we're psyched. What can we say?
I'm legitimately fucking psyched about how cool the Apache is and the new things it's going to do for gameplay in DCS, the multi-crew aspect, you know, it's beyond cool, man. Beyond cool.
Yeah. Oh well, perhaps we should move on though. The other thing. Shut up about the Apache and move on, says Frantic. Okay, we'll listen to Frantic because he pays us. So let's go to the DCS MiG-21 BIS campaign, Battle of Krasnodar. Now, I'm not usually particularly excited about campaigns because I don't really play that much single player. I'm very much a multiplayer boy.
Same.
But this actually has me kind of psyched because I like the MiG-21. I actually think it's a really well done module despite its rather shaky history. I think the state that it's in today is very, very good, and it's a very nice aircraft to fly. And the idea behind this battle, it being kind of 1970s Cold War setting, has me kind of psyched. I'm interested in this one. So 25 story-driven missions, over 400 voiceovers, a 1970s unit set, a large variety of CAP, CAS, intercept, escort, anti-ship missions are included, detailed briefings, kneeboard files, and documentation. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm psyched for that.
We're of course missing the quintessential 70s jet though.
The F4?
The F4. You know,
it's an AI unit, so it's in the game. It's just not flyable.
True. Yeah, it is an AI unit, but I guess single player. Yeah, fine. Okay, it's there as an AI unit. I mean, of course, MiG-21 was involved in quite a lot of brush wars. So you know, but yeah, you know, the comment just came out there in chat. It was 25 missions. That's a lot. And actually, I think it is. And I think like people are like moaning about the cost of campaigns, right? But I mean, if anybody who spent even 5 minutes in the mission editor for DCS, it's not a very friendly environment for building complicated missions, and it requires lots of scripting, and it's lots and lots of work. So, people do need to be compensated. And I think what they're charging for campaigns, I think is fair.
Oh,
but
yes.
This one's giving you 25 missions. That's a lot of content for not a massive amount of money.
And over 400 voiceovers. They had to pay those voice actors.
Yeah.
That's a fair amount of work. So yeah, I'm kind of psyched for that. Perhaps not a big newsletter this week, but still stuff to be excited about. And the Apache certainly got us agitated, but that's good. Moving on, we have the first in a series of videos all about the Mosquito. Today, this chappie, I forget his name now. What is his name? Sunt Sag, Ancient Gamer, starts his series. He calls it Mozzie Monday, so maybe we're getting another one on Monday, I don't know. This one is an introduction, so he's really just telling us about the aircraft and its service with various air forces, most notably the RAF, of course. And it's kind of a cool video. I think he said for the next one he was going to start the aircraft up, which it'd be quite interesting to see how you do that. How do you get this beast to waken?
There were some nice cockpit shots in this video, which we were kind of missing in the official ED video.
Yes.
So it was good to see that kind of stuff. He is showing the aircraft off really nicely in these videos. I think, in fact, he's doing a slightly better job than the official ED video. Of showing the aircraft off. Oh, mate, but he did just, he's clearly filming an AI unit there rather than a human unit.
Yes, he is. Yeah. I noticed that too.
Yeah.
But it does look nice. It's looking very pretty.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week when the announcement came out. It's a very pretty plane. It's a very interesting aircraft. It has a storied history. I'm still meh.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm glad that it exists, and I think it looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not going to be an aircraft that I'm going to buy or fly.
No, I'm going to pick it up for curiosity value when it goes on sale. It's not. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to it. It is a wonderful aircraft and did many, many great things. And I think I picked up, he said it was in service until the 1960s, which is incredible.
Yes.
But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Yappy Dog there just saying, feel the same, nice plane, not sure what I'll do with it. Completely agree. Do you know what I'll do with it? I'll fly around in it and I'll go, well, that's really pretty. I enjoy flying it, but that's about it. Which is pretty much what I've done with all the World War II content. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to go over old ground, but that's there's going to be people who are going to salivate over it, and this is going to be their thing, and all the all the World War II aircraft. But for me, DCS has always been about modern aircraft, and
it's something that they do so well. If you look at the F-16, F-18, the Jeff, all these planes, they're really beautifully modeled, really, really interesting avionics. Not to beat a dead horse, but some better ECM and electronic warfare modeling would be great. But the rest of it's pretty good, I think.
And I just don't think they're going to take the crown off IL-2, even if they're simulating the systems better.
Which they probably are.
Which they probably are. But the thing is IL-2's got some amazing flight modeling in it. And World War, the players, World War II players, they don't care about systems. They care about the purity of the air combat.
Yes. Yeah, and it has to be
IL
said that IL-2 has an absolutely fantastic flight model.
Yes, yeah, and the purity of the air combat in IL-2 is undeniable. So I don't think they're gonna steal the crown. And it's like, yeah, cool, like you say, happy it exists, but it's not your core business. But again, we discussed this last week, so we're retreading. But
We're retreading old ground.
It's a nice video.
It is a nice video, and I'm looking forward to the startup. I'll watch that for sure.
Interesting though. This appears to be his first official ED video. Is this what we're thinking?
It seems to be. I've never seen him do one before.
Yeah.
His previous videos were all about the mission editor and things like that. So
Yeah. But he had the official
intro.
ED intro.
Yes.
And he's got access to the Mosquito,
Yeah.
which, as far as I'm aware, nobody else has. So he must be on board.
Or they're making use of him as a content creator. I know that my employers often do this. They give stuff to content creators early and get them to create content on it.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of.
Well, I mean, has anybody been paying attention to Wags' sign-off recently?
Yes.
How's he been signing off?
Thanks for all the fish.
Thanks for all the fish, which is a quote from Douglas Adams.
Yes.
Which is in its entirety is so long and thanks for all the fish.
It's when the dolphins leave us.
Is Wax leaving ED?
Dun dun dun.
Drama.
Is he?
Because they bring somebody out, make him, he does an official ED video. Wags is signing off with this cryptic, the dolphins are leaving chat. Is Wags leaving ED? Fuck no, of course he's not. But it's fun to speculate.
Yes. And I'm sure that he will explain all at some point soon with that strange sign-off.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll make sense. But I just thought, do you know what? It's fun to speculate. Because,
Yes.
I mean, he's fucking posting about stuff that's coming down the line regularly on the forums. So,
And the Apache is coming, which I'm sure he's quite invested in.
Oh, I would imagine so. But yeah, it's just fun to stir the shit and speculate. It's Wags leaving ED because he's had this cryptic sign off for the last wee while, and now some new boy shows up doing videos. Oh,
You never know.
Nah, of course he's not. But I'll laugh my ass off if we've called it. In the same way that we called It's Not a Tornado from Heatblur. You see, we were right.
We're just wrong about it being a Gripen. But I really hope that somebody makes a Gripen at some point, because I'm quite into that.
Yeah. But, we're getting the Typhoon, so...
Yes, very happy about that.
No, fuck, you didn't hear it here first. I'm just stirring shit. Wags is not leaving ET.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear Lord. Uh-oh. What have we started?
On that bombshell, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah.
This week, Razbam on their Facebook page posted some images of the F-15 Strike Eagle. They started off with this very pretty image of the UFC and various other parts of the cockpit. And I've got to say that we were talking about Jane's Strike Eagle a little bit earlier. The moment I saw this, I felt very much at home, because I spent a lot of time playing that game, and this looks exactly the way it looked. Well, a little bit more detail, but basically it looks exactly the same as it did in Strike Eagle. So, looking good.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
And it's the same version of the UFC that they had in that one, because I believe there are two styles of UFC used in Strike Eagles, and this is a slightly less advanced one. There's this kind of 7-segment style one, and apparently there's a more modern one. And they had a poll. Actually, I believe Razbam had a poll at one stage asking everybody which version they wanted.
Which one do you want? Yeah.
And they voted for this one. I'm assuming probably because this is the one that was in Jane's Strike Eagle, and people maybe have a little bit of a nostalgia for that. So yeah, there is a more modern version of the UFC, and this is not it. So we had that image, and then they followed up with a couple of external images. Now, you might not recognise them from these altitudes, but that is the Falklands. So they're giving us a 2-for-1 here, showing off the Strike Eagle and showing off the Falklands map.
Yeah. It's... Yeah, Falklands map's good, especially as we've got the Harrier. Yes. It would be good to have the Mirage to be able to carry out a what-if scenario. What if the Mirages had made it out to the islands? That would be quite good.
I think they've said that they're adding AI Etendard. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But the aircraft that the Argentinians did actually have overhead the islands.
Etendard, Pucara's daggers.
Don't know.
I think they had the dagger, and they had the A4. They had the Skyhawk, which of course we've got as a mod in DCS.
A very good mod at that. Quite well modeled.
Yeah.
So looking forward to this. This looks pretty sexy.
Yeah, and again, it's multi-crew, lots of interesting things you can do with that.
But no AI backseater.
No AI backseater. Well, yeah.
Which might be a problem.
That's the thing, because there's a good chunk of this aircraft's capability comes from the back seat and the guy in there pushing the buttons.
Yes.
So there's no AI. Really, that's been confirmed. There's no AI backseater.
It's in the FAQ. We actually discussed this about a month ago when they released the FAQ.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We talked about this, and at that time you were quite aghast at the thought of no AI backseater.
I am aghast again. Jesus.
Yeah.
I should drink less. I might remember shit.
It's quite an omission, and it will mean that the aircraft will only be properly usable in multiplayer. Really.
Yes, I remember. I remember this conversation now. Yeah, that's a massive omission.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Mark S, technically pilot can do most things. No, in fact, no. A lot of the aircraft, you need a backseater to operate it properly. The thing is, you'll be able to switch seats in single player. So, or you can, in single player, what you're probably going to have to do is put the sim into active pause, jump into the back seat, set everything up yourself, and then jump back into the front seat.
I don't think, and I think you can't actually even start the aircraft properly without going in the back seat.
Well, that's the case for most multi-seat aircraft. Yeah, you can't really start stuff without someone in the back. So it's going to be a bit of a pain, in my opinion. I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Jesus, that's like oof. Yeah, that changes my opinion on the Mudhead coming out for DCS.
But then the thing that still excites me is that this is basically the US Air Force's Tornado. It fills the exact same role.
It is. It does the same role. Actually, no, it doesn't change it because, I only ever play in multiplayer. So, yeah, it's not going to affect me, but it might affect the reception.
Yeah.
I think there are going to be howls of rage on the forum when people realize...
A couple of people in the chat are quite adamant that it can be operated single pilot. So maybe I'm wrong there. I'm prepared to accept that I could be wrong.
It could be, yes, it can be operated, as in you can probably boot it up and fly a circuit in it, but you couldn't fight it. You couldn't fight effectively without a backseater in that jet. Can't be done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to employ your weapons, basically. You wouldn't. You'd probably be able to drop in CCRP. Sorry, no, CCIP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's about it. But you probably have a really hard time selecting weapons packages, and yeah. Yeah, that's bad. But I mean, I'm glad it's the Mud Hen. Like, I'm really glad it's the E, because, you know, F-15C.
It's a bit boring.
Ooh.
Yeah, the F-15C I'm not particularly interested in, because it's such a limited aircraft. It does one thing, and it does that one thing very well, but it only does one thing. Whereas the F-15E does a lot of things. It's a very, very multi-role aircraft. Very, very interesting aircraft.
I was lucky enough to get really up close to one. It was at RAF Valley. And it had an issue and had to land, and I was very, very lucky to get up close to it, and technically wasn't supposed to.
No one chased you away, so it was okay.
Nobody chased me away, so it was fine. It's like, yeah, don't take any fucking photographs of it.
Yeah, that's when they get upset. Cool. Well, that is everything that we have for this week. That's all the news that there was, don't you know?
It's all the news, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we should give our usual updates. As I said, basically from now until the 12th of September, I'm not going to be here. So very, very sorry, everybody, but you'll have to do without me for a couple of weeks. I will probably record at least a couple of the Harrier bonus videos, the little top tips that I've already released one of so far, being Target of Opportunity. And I will schedule those to go live while I'm away, so that you won't be entirely bereft of Deep Hack content. But basically,
mildly bereft.
Mildly bereft. Yeah, the next news is not going to be... Oh, sorry, I said the 12th. Actually, it's the 11th of September. I don't know why I got mixed up on the days. So you'll have another DCS news stream on the 11th of September, and the next GF-17 video, which will be covering the radar and BVR combat. So that should be most exciting.
Yes, I'm just going to respond to chat talking about the T-38. Concur. A T-38 would be really good. I'd love that.
But
I'd love a T-38.
There is a community T-38, which looks pretty good. So top tip: go and search out the community mod T-38. It's not.
Okay.
I don't think it's quite full fidelity, but it's pretty damn close. I think most of the systems are modelled. So nice. Go and have a look at that.
Yeah, I mean the F5. If you kind of squint at it funny after a couple of drinks, it sort of kind of makes you feel like a T-38, but it's not a T-38. I quite like. I've got a soft spot for the T-38. Yeah.
Actually,
anyway, sorry, we were in the middle of updates.
I just realised that I'm wrong. It's not the T-38. Which one is it? It's a very similar aircraft that someone made a community mod of. Oh, anyway, I'll leave that as an exercise for chat to figure out. It's not the T-38.
No. Carto was sort of saying what the T-38 can do. Yes, it can do a ton. It's just like the F5, if you squint a bit, it just kind of looks kind of similar, Its capability is totally different. It's not what it was, T-38's dedicated trainer. It's very, very capable. Hawk T2. Yeah. Sorry, I just feel like somebody's just walked over my grave. I said the H word.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm assuming that you're still very much snowed under with work just now, Mr. dotChuckles.
Yeah.
But even so, dotChuckles has a Twitch channel. Please consider following him and checking out his content. And I'm sure that once you have free time again, you'll be back on there doing your thing.
Yes. I'm tempted to stream some Carrier Command, actually.
Carrier Command.
Yeah.
Well, give me a shout if you want a crew member.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of tempted to stream Carrier Commands. There's quite a lot of games coming up that I think I will have to make time to stream. Regiments from Microprose is another one. Excuse me, that I'm kind of interested in having a look at when that comes. Kind of very sort of similar to things like Red Dragon and World in Conflict and things like that, but a little bit more simmy. So that if that comes out when I'm not like dying under a mountain of work, I might get back to doing that. So yeah.
Excellent. And as we always remind people at the end of our stream, please keep in mind the beautiful logo at the top right of dotChuckles' video feed there. The Virtual Air Force, we have the Discord linked in the show notes below. Please consider joining our Discord if you would like to fly with a dedicated online squadron, such as the Virtual Air Force. We're currently recruiting pilots to 2 Squadron, F-16, and 3 Squadron Harrier, and there will be more squadrons starting up soon, including an F-18 Squadron and an Apache Squadron when it is available.
When it comes. Yep. Yes, when it comes.
So please consider joining us. Ite Magshi. There is a community T-45C Goshawk, I think, and that is in fact the one I was thinking of. So thank you for correcting me. The T-45C, that's the aircraft. Very, very nice mod. Go check it out. And it is, of course...
Sorry, carry on.
Oh no, you can carry on.
Question. AH-64D, will it have the radar in future? I suspect it's going to. I don't think there's been anything...
No, they confirmed it. They confirmed it will have the radar.
Right, yeah. Okay, my information's out of date. So, yeah. So, yes, you are going to have the radar, because, I mean, that's kind of how, the is it the primary sensor of the Apache? Very nearly, yeah.
That's in the floor, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you will get the radar, and don't worry, I understood what you meant, so that's fine. As long as we understand each other, you've succeeded.
Absolutely.
Waiting for a North American squadron. Yeah, North American time. I think we've had recent discussions in the VAF about how we're going to increase our availability and things like that. So I think, there might be something that can come out soon that is going to be a little bit more amenable to our US chums and our oceanic chums as well.
Very exciting. Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's everything that we have for tonight. But as always, thank you very much for watching, you wonderful people in chat. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to the channel. And I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe. I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.